Hello. This video is going to illustrate a lesson I created using Smartboard. This lesson was created for a freshman to sophomore English class. Let us begin. I created an easy lesson on how to make a short story. The following application of Smartboard has many unique features that I will explain as we go through this presentation. This is one of the first activities I have for the students. Game time. You must unscramble words to find 5 key aspects that a short story must have. This is the first activity. This is an anagram. So to start this activity, we click Start, and you can see a clue down here. Individuals, animals, or other creatures who the story is focused on. There's supposed to be story there. So to do this, we just move these around. And even though time ran out, you're still able to finish, and you have to finish to move on. So characters. And to do this, to get all 5 of them, you click Next, and then you click the clue where the story takes place. Now the nice thing about this feature is you can put a little picture in to match what you're trying to describe. So here's a little picture, and of course where the story takes place would be setting. Now this one is a little bit longer. The story will have one of these, and this is very important. And of course this little dot represents a space. And of course the time, this is as long as you can get the time. Which is a little bit of a hassle because, as you can see, it's really not all that much time for students to do this activity, but it's still a fun activity so students can start thinking about these 5 elements that they need in a short story, because later on they will have to create their own short story. And this is a long one. It's supposed to be beginning, middle, and end. And like I said, students can have fun with this. You can honestly ignore the time. Just having the students come up to the Smartboard and manipulate these little blocks can get them fun and excited. And they can do this by themselves, or they can do this like in groups of 2 or 3, depending on the class size. Okay. When you first make your story, you must create these 3 parts first. Now these 3 parts are very important and are like the basic outline of a story. And the larger aspect of things, I would be using a Smartboard for this, and I would point to the pig, and I would say, what do you think this pig represents, and what element do you think he is? And we would discuss it as a class, and then when I move the pig, I can move him down. As you can see, it says characters. Same thing with the house. Setting, and then problem. And these are nice because I can keep them off and just move them all down if I would like to keep them that way. Next activity. Click on the picture and identify what the picture is. Then guess the story we are going to create. And I'm having us create a story first as a class, and then I'm going to have them do them as their own. And the story that I picked was the 3 Little Pigs, because it's the most basic story that everybody knows, and it's easy to go through the elements that they will need in their own story. So for this activity, you just click, and you click on what you think the answer is. And students will just click on that, and a check mark will come. And this is, of course, a stick house, but let's do one that's wrong, for example. Let's say it's just straw. It gives you an X, and then you get another chance, and then you can correct yourself. So that's just an example of how to use that activity. So now that we know writing the story of the 3 Little Pigs, let us think of the beginning, middle, and end, which are important for the plot line. So the beginning of the story, and this is a nice little feature because if you click on it, it turns over, and it says, why is the beginning important? So as a class, we would discuss why it's necessary to have a beginning of the story. And this is a neat little feature. If you click on these little dots, it goes through the plot line. And I would ask the students, What do you think the plot line of the story is? And we'll talk about it. And then this is the bare bones, once again, of the beginning of the story. There's a lot more to it, but the mother pig wants her 3 boys to leave. The 3 boy pigs leave to make their own house. One makes his house from straw, another from sticks. The last pig makes his house from bricks. And this is the middle of the story, and this is nice, because this is like a little think about. Climax of the story is here. And this is important for students to understand, that there must be some problem and there must be some rising action to come to the climax of the story. Some focal point that everything is being drawn to. And this is nice because it goes back and it's just so small. So when you're done, you can close it. Now this activity is nice because some of these sentences are long, so you can scroll. And what you do is you just put these in order. And it's pretty cool because it's really nifty how it can do all these things. And let's say we're done. Check, and we got these 2 wrong. So then to fix it, you click solve, and it will tell you if a kid's really struggling, you click solve, and it'll show the child what it is. Now to reset all your work, you just want to click this reset button. If you want to use this for other classes, if you have more than one class. End of the story. And this is another little neat feature. It's a little box, and it says, is the solution at the end of the story? And you click on it, and it turns over, and yes. And this is just the end of the story, which is cool. The big bad wolf could not blow the brick house down. And once you finish reading these little tiles, there's the brick house. The little pigs believe the wolf would try to come through their, and this is supposed to be chimney down here. There's, as you can see, some of these I made a little long for an example that you have to stay within a certain text number. And there's the wolf. And you click on them to get them back. And then at the end, the mom pig's happy because all her sons are alive. And this is the part of the lesson where students get to pick what story they can create. And I like this feature because the students can see their different options. And I also threw in this balloon right here. Ask me if you have ideas after this lecture, because I think it's very important that students need to have their own options available to them if they have any that they don't want to do that's on this screen. But I had different categories created because I didn't want students to all gravitate to for example, adventure story. I wanted to have a variety of students writing about different things. So for each balloon, I would count how many people are in the class and split them up in these different categories. So there's only a certain amount of people allotted on that balloon. So let's say out of a class of 30, that there's 5 balloons. So that means 6 person per balloon. So let's say 6 people wanted to do a mystery story. Oh, that option's gone. And same thing with a romantic story, fiction story. And for this one, I would honestly keep up so the students can come to me. To get the balloons back, you just click on them again. And this is important. When it comes to story writing, editing is very important. So this is something I really like. The students can vote on either peer editing themselves or having me edit. And this is something interactive because you can have students come to the board to do this. All these activities you can have students come to the board. And this one you can have a person, you know, if 2 people want to peer edit and 7, 9 people want the teacher to edit. You know, it's a very cool way to keep track instead of raise your hand and the teacher counting. This is a more interactive way for students to get excited. And after that point, this is for the students to now begin writing the short stories in their journals. And what's nice about Smartboard is you can use this for any lesson. It doesn't just have to be English. It's fun because the students can get excited and interactive, and it's very hands-on for students who are not auditory or visual learners. So some students, the ones who need interaction, can get their interaction, and then students who are auditory can hear the teacher talking, or if they're visual, they're also seeing all the stuff going on the Smartboard. So this is a Smartboard lesson. And I hope other teachers can watch this and see how it can be useful to their specific content area they're teaching. Thank you for watching.